What's up guys, so just before the video begins, I will leave just a timestamp on screen now if you want to just skip past this. But before it begins, a little kind of disclaimer, I have been using Plink for around about 20 hours, but that 20 hours does not necessarily mean that's 20 hours of one game mode, of whatever, you know. If anything, between 5 to 10 hours of that has been spent, I should say, in this mode alone. You're probably thinking, well, why so long? And that is mainly because I am trying to figure out every little detail. I probably shot the same robot thousands of times. So yeah, bear that in mind. 20 hours doesn't necessarily mean 20 hours I've spent grinding out and leveling up, stuff like that. But this is pretty much every possible thing I could find on Plink, so just bear that in mind. So, to start the video, the description of Plink is a short-range skirmisher who closes the distance between his opponents with a thrown teleporter, perfect for his preferred hit-and-run playstyle. And that, yeah, surprisingly, that actually is kind of who Plink is. You don't want with Plink to be running into people's faces constantly, but at the same time you do. It's a weird kind of in between. So go through his abilities and moves. So he's got his primary fire, which is the scrap rocket, so they're short range and rapid homing missiles. So if you take a step back, as soon as that red marks off, so if I was to shoot there it will hit him, but if I was as we can see, it's not kind of hitting. Once the thing goes red though, it's almost like a guarantee. So if we get it on red, it's almost a guarantee you're going to be hitting him when it goes to red. And that's what you kind of want to aim at. As soon as that cursor's red, you know you can just kind of start spraying and praying, no problem. Next up is the nice and easily named boomerang. So it's just what it sounds like. You can throw it and it comes back to you. It's pretty simple. We'll go into more detail about some more sort of advanced tips for that one in a minute. Then he's got his final part of his kit is the skedaddle ball, which is basically just a teleporter. So you can chuck this and it'll go on a sort of timer as to when it'll run out. So as you see in the bottom right. So it will run out after that time. I'll let the timer run down just so you guys can see. And it just gets destroyed. That means that you then have to wait for the cooldown to finish to be able to use it again. But as long as you use it within that time, and you can use it while it's sort of before it's landed or hit a surface, you could use it whenever. Once you've thrown it, it could be used at any point in the arc or any point once it's landed. So if you want to throw it, get in a fight, for example. Obviously that one fell off, which is a bit embarrassing. But yeah, if you had a fight, you could then pop away when things get a bit difficult. So come over here, boom, boom, boom. Right, now let's get away. And that's his kit. That's his full kit, really. Now I'm going to go over the little kind of interactions and combos, stuff like that, for each part of his kit has. So we'll start off with his primary fire. With this alone, there is nothing spectacular. There's no real alternate fire. Yes, you can obviously tap fire, but that won't really give you much of a benefit. The only thing I have found with his sort of primary is the ability to rocket jump is insane with Plink. Better than any other character, simple as. And I'm not necessarily talking about on the floor, because obviously on the floor it's just like a small jump. But if you go to any wall, and I do this a lot, especially on Rocket Ball, all you have to do is fire. And you can just basically walk up walls. Like, look at this, you can knock yourself out, you do whatever you want. And you do be careful, because the amount of times I go flying up. But if you see someone and they're climbing up a wall or have flown away, all you have to do is go, you know, not today, and boom, you're suddenly, you do that, you can get your jump back. So to show you that again, by the time you're reloading, you've got more jump, and you can essentially stay up for, you know, as long as you need. And so, trust me, this will be used. Right, next up is his, I guess we'll say, his boomerang. Now, his boomerang has a couple of different uses. So, first of all, it can grab items. Just like that. So, if you throw it, it'll instantly pull an item back at you. As far as I'm aware, while it's pulling an item back, it can't damage anyone from there or anything like that. But I haven't necessarily been in that exact spot to see that. So, next up is the bounce on the boomerang, as we saw. So if you see someone behind the corner, let's imagine this is an amphora and there's a big wall here and you can't hit her. Well, no problem. Let's say she's obviously a bit closer. You can throw that off the wall. Obviously, as I said, grab items, but you could essentially throw that. It goes behind a wall, as we saw there. It was a nice little example. And you can hit people. And this is super effective, trust me. People are flying around, you can't quite hit them. Whatever reason, you chuck this, it almost locks in on them in a weird way. It's not perfect on how it kind of locks in, but it is like there is some kind of target mode on it. If someone's close enough, it will kind of go to them, so bear that in mind. And again, you can do a small kind of rocket jump with this, which can be quite useful because, you know, it gives you a little bit extra height, not too much, but that's fine. So moving on to a final part of the kit is the teleporter. And what the teleporter can do, other than obviously just teleporting, is a great way to deal damage. So it deals damage both on initial impact and on teleport. And that teleport is what you really want to be using this for. Rarely, I mean, I say rarely, maybe 1 out of 5 times I actually use a teleporter to get away or to get on an objective. Most of the time I'm using it to deal damage to enemies because it is so effective, and I would actually argue to say it's more effective at times than your primary fire, because if there's someone on the objective, say this little circle is a mega rocket, all you've got to do is that, and all of a sudden they're either going to run away because of how weak they are, or, you know, shoot back, at which point you've already got a massive advantage. So that is what you want to be using that for, both to deal damage with the hit and with the radius. However, you do have to watch out. The radius, as we see, is very small. I do miss this quite often, but I'm sure a lot of you guys are a heck of a lot more skilled than I am. So that's the overall interactions. There is no more that I can personally find any major anyway uses or different uses for any of the abilities or fires or anything like that. The only other things that I could really think about talking of is both the game modes and the artifacts I use. So I haven't been talking about artifacts previously because they're such a subjective kind of thing. I might love 3 artifacts and you guys might hate them. So just bear in mind, these are the modes that I prefer Plink in, and the modes that I don't prefer Plink in, and also the artifacts that I sort of use. So my preferred modes for Plink are top tier, I would say, Mega Rocket. So as I said before, imagine that door is the Mega Rocket. If I saw that it was pretty low, or the enemies have nearly got it, I can simply teleport in on it, do some damage, whatever, you know, be really quick and sniffy, and then a few seconds later you can get back out if need be. Even on the initial throw, you can get a good amount of damage done, which is usually enough to scare quite a few enemies off. Then coming in after that, I would probably say, for me, the knockout mode. Nice and simple knockout, purely because he is, I mean, it's basically like having an SMG. It's super simple to use as primary weapon. And then probably third, I'd say Rocket Ball, mainly because he's able to, with the ball, use his kind of wall crawl ability to just stay off the floor, and it makes it so difficult for people to hit you. And then last, I would say, is the treasure mode. So, before we go into the gameplay, the artifacts I use personally, again, this is subjective, but I like Hunter's Idol. So, damage and impulse taken decreases damage taken by 8% and impulse received by 8%. I like this purely because of how often you're going to be hit, and he's got a very rubbish meter to say the least. Then I like the unstable canister, so you deal more damage the higher your blast meter, up to, you know, a maximum of 10%. I like this again because quite often you're going to be quite high on that blast meter. And then I like the frosty thermometer, which is dodge cooldown reduced while in mega blast danger. Again, this is just to be able to get myself out, but there are others, quite a lot of others that could really work, so bear that in mind. Right, so going into the gameplay, this time I have decided to play Rocketbot just so I can demonstrate a bit easier. So the combos and stuff is what we're going to go over here. So I start off with one of the more simple combos, which is just shoot and boomerang. It's so simple. I try and judge it off basically once a full clip has gone in my magazine and I've reloaded, my boomerang is pretty much ready. I tried to get the mega hit with my teleport there, didn't quite work, but that's fine. Don't be scared of long shots either, I will say that. You don't do a crazy amount of damage from distance, but it can be super useful with how quick you fire to get one or two shots off maybe on a target that's just about to be knocked out of the arena, stuff like that. So as you can see, I'm trying to bounce off walls, and that was a good example. That was obviously a mega hit with my teleport ability. You do have to be super close, and you'll see in this gameplay a couple of times where I just absolutely miss it, like there. But that's the point. You can't hit it if obviously you don't try it. So right, going on, I come around here, and my thinking at this point is I need some items. I was hoping that would maybe be a bomb or something like that, but it wasn't, but that is fine. And then here, I'm just constantly putting pressure on, and a top tip for you would be concentrate on one target, mainly. There are times in this game where I kind of get caught up, there's 2 or 3 targets in front of me, and I start to almost struggle. This is because Plink can do a lot of damage, but not to multiple people at once. It's just not going to happen. He's not got the same abilities as maybe Blastbeard or Top Notch. You know, you can't do damage to multiple people at once. It's not going to happen. Concentrate on one person, try and do as much damage as you can, and if you get knocked out, that's fine, because you know you've probably gotten so close to death your teammate can help you finish them. And as you can see in these clips, I'm using more than, you know, 90% of the time my boomerang to finish people off. And this is because after you've damaged them with your primary, like I say, because they're so low and you just need that quick bit of damage, I try and avoid shooting with my primary to finish them, because it takes 2 to 3 sort of shots while they're on, sort of, you know, or while they're one shot off, in order to actually knock them out. Whereas a boomerang is just a quick boom, done, they're knocked. You start on your next target. I proceed here, as we can see there. I use them shots, didn't use a boomerang. I don't know if I knocked them out of the arena or if my shots even landed or anything like that. So and this is the example I was talking about. I got cornered there by 3 rocket bots, and they absolutely destroyed me within seconds. You keep your distance as much as possible, but at the same time, get in the face. As soon as you see 2 or more people, you ideally want to be getting out of there, though. And sort of to end this kind of quick gameplay, again, more just making sure I knock them out of that boomerang, bouncing it off surfaces. Even if you don't hit every shot, that's fine. Just try stuff. Right there, I managed to bounce it off the floor and go up and hit them. And that's pretty much where this gameplay is going to finish. There isn't any crazy combos, and I know there's going to be people in the comments saying, well, you know, I hit a combo and what I did was a triple dodge, backflip, spiral roll, and then killed him. That's great. If you guys have your own combos, put them in the description. Obviously, no hate or anything like that, because I will absolutely argue with you. I have no shame in arguing. Um, but no, that's the overall gameplay, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I really do. And I'll see you next time.